Hello internet, welcome back to one of 2 uploads per month on this channel. I'm trying my best, guys. I'm a little bit burnt out. Canterella, Camellya, Shorekeeper, who should you be going for? Design wise, God, you'll have a fun time choosing which mommy to go for because it's hard. But I'm just not gonna waste anyone's time. Let's just start with the conclusion. For newer players, 100% you prioritize Shorekeeper, then Camellya, then Canterella. We'll talk about more why Canterella isn't like the top priority later on, but Shorekeeper you should know. But for a newer player out there right now, top tier buffer, Camellya, top tier DPS. Get those two means you have a full team that can bring you through any endgame instantly, right? Very valuable. For older players though, you pull actually based on future roster and what you want to build in the future, right? Now if you take a look at that Twitter account for Wuthering Waves, they've already drip marketed a lot of characters in this version that's yet to been released. But someone like Zanny, right? The problem is unless you looked at leaks, you don't know what they do. So Canterella could be really good with a character like that in the future that's gonna come maybe next patch, maybe in a few patches. Unfortunately, we don't know that, but if you're an older player, that's what you want to look out for, right? For culture players, you go for aesthetics over meta, which is probably the hardest option because all 3 of them looks gorgeous. Now to dive a little bit deeper for this conclusion, let's just like break it down. Canterella, why do I say, you don't want to prioritize that as a newer player, right? So let's just check out her role. Her role is for a sub DPS, sub healer, and slash support, right? Sub DPS meaning she can do some damage when she takes the turn, when she takes the turn in a rotation, but her damage isn't really that high. And the reason being she can also bring some healing to the team, which is what a lot of sub DPS aren't able to do. So to trade in for some damage, you can heal some as well. And finally, she is a support character with havoc damage and resonance skill damage buff with the outro skill. Now the problem with this character is that she does not have a perfect team yet. As I mentioned, this is why you want to like look out into the future characters because I guarantee you they're gonna release a future havoc DPS that just works perfectly with Canterella, right? Currently though, there's really just like maybe havoc rover. If you say Camellya uses basic damage buff. It's not resonance skill damage buff, right? So there's some wastage there. But hey, in the future they might release something that uses resonance skill buff and havoc damage. If that happens, Canterella will be really good if you're looking to build that team. But if you pull her right now though, you pretty much will be able to max her abilities at least in this current patch. Yeah, in the end though, we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but for now she's not gonna be like the top priority character because there's just no one that can fully benefit from her yet. But this is not to say she's bad. As I mentioned, based on future DPS that's gonna be released, she might get a lot better. She might be in the best team of the version. If in the future the DPS turns out to be broken, they use havoc damage and resonance skill damage buff. But if you're cultured though, you pull her anyway. And yeah, by the way, don't worry about skipping her because in the future, if a really strong havoc DPS gets released, chances are they will also rerun Canterella because she is the perfect team member for that DPS, right? So even if you miss her right now, you really want to play her in the future, you can just skip right now, wait for the rerun, which based on the current pattern, they do get reruns pretty like quickly. They do cycle quite quickly. So that's for Canterella. Let's just move on with Camellya. Now to compare Camellya with Canterella, why would I say Camellya is more of a priority for newer players especially? It would be the fact that Camellya is basically just the top tier DPS and it's currently the strongest havoc damage DPS out there. If you don't own Camellya, you probably only have Jinxie and it doesn't hurt for your next DPS to be say Camellya, right? Maybe you have Carlotta. If you do, then maybe you don't need Camellya in the end. Do remember with most DPS, you just need 2 really strong ones. And if possible, make sure those 2 can clear every endgame, right? Jinxie's one of the person that can clear Wuthering Waves and they can clear Tower Adversity as well. Camellya, same thing. Carlotta, a little bit tougher for Wuthering Waves for sure. But that is why I would just suggest for any newer players to just have Camellya as their first DPS. This is a DPS that's tried and true. You can beat anything in the game that's endgame right now. And by being able to do that, you just invest in one character and it helps you gain asteroids through every way possible. Tower Adversity and Wuthering Waves, right? Not to mention, she's also very suitable for newer players. If you don't have Shorekeeper, well, just use Verena instead with Sanhua, which is free, and pair that with Camellya. It's not a perfect team, but Sanhua does buff basic attack damage. Perfect for Camellya, right? And that is why I do heavily suggest getting Camellya as one of your 2 needed DPS for endgame because there's usually 2 stages you gotta clear. For older players as well, if you have, say, Jinxie with GN, unless you really love GN, I would just say, you know what, get yourself Camellya. That's only assuming if you have 2 really strong team for the support role, right? Namely, moving to the next slide, we got Shorekeeper. Now, Shorekeeper is one of the 2 best like healer slash team wipe buffer we have in the game, with the other person being Verena, right? Having a Shorekeeper and having a Verena in your account at the same time means you only have 2 slots for both of your teams for any endgame modes. You know it's gonna be Verena for 1 and Shorekeeper for 2. That's gonna allow you to easily just transition into any sub DPS, and that sub DPS transitions to your DPS to just throw all the buffs possible for not only your main DPS, or some teams is gonna like benefit somewhat as well. Mention Shorekeeper going to Sanhua, going into Camellya. Sanhua does some good damage as well because she's buffed by Shorekeeper, right? Not to mention with her second role for Shorekeeper, crit rate / crit damage buffer. This is like probably the only person right now. Yeah, it is the only person right now that has team-wide crit rate and crit damage buff at the same time. And crit rate is such an important factor for main DPSs. And it's one of the things that newer players or even for some older players to struggle to get, because you know, echo rolling is a pain. If your say GN has like 70 crit rate, that's already solid. But imagine now Shorekeeper comes in, gives you like 12% more crit rate, boom, suddenly you're critting almost every hit now. That's a big difference, right? Considering with GN, there's one like really big nuke. For any main DPS really, there's usually one big nuke in their kit that you want to make sure you're critting. Imagine Carlota with a final like alt basic attack. That thing needs to crit for you to do more damage, right? And that could be the difference between getting a full 3-star clear and a non 3-star clear. I myself use Shorekeeper almost every time basically possible, right? And she's just easy to use. It gives you so much value, and for especially newer players, you just get so much for being able to crit even, right? With all that said, here's my poll suggestion. Literally, Shorekeeper is a must pull. I would argue Shorekeeper is the only character in the whole game that I'm gonna tell you as it's a must pull, right? Even from the moment she came out back in the day, we already knew that she is a must pull type of character. If anything, I feel like there needs to be more, at least one more type of like AoE buffer at Shorekeeper's level, just so they're more accessible to players because they're just that good. But then hey, since that's not the case yet, Shorekeeper right now is gonna get a rerun for the second phase of the patch. You definitely want to grab yourself a Shorekeeper if you don't already have it. It is so unfair to not have Shorekeeper for your account. It's like playing a whole different game. Like you're playing on ×3 difficulty without someone like this as your second team, right? You know how good Marina is in your team. Shorekeeper is going to give you a similar idea, or in fact even better, right? With more crit rate, crit damage. Not to mention she's really cheap to like set up. 0 dupes on Shorekeeper. Even without her weapon will work fine. There's only free options for her to work as well. Yep, in the end, she's one of the only 2 top tier team-wide buffers, with the only one else being Varina. Now I do know by G, but yeah, they're not really comparable to what Shorekeeper and Varina can bring. It's just a lot of healing, a lot of damage increase, and not to mention they gain Concerto very quickly, so you can start your DPS cycle very quickly, right? More time for a main DPS to stand on field. That means more damage overall for your run. It's really useful. And with all of that, to conclude on who you should be really going for, we're gonna go back to the conclusion here. It is, as I mentioned, newer players, Shorekeeper, 100%. You want that unlocked. Pair that with a Varina, you have your end game double support done. You never gotta worry about them again, at least for a long time to come. Camellya second, only because of how versatile she is as a DPS. She can work in Wuthering Waves, at least, you know, in the current moment, unless they make big changes about Wuthering Waves. She's just gonna be really good for that. And of course, in the end, Canterella is not of the current priority, because for one, she's not really having a perfect team yet, and for two, in the future, I'm almost gonna guarantee you there's gonna be a DPS that suits her. But by the time that comes, you might already get a rerun of Canterella. At least it seems that's what Kuro Games is trying to aim for, because it makes no sense for them to release Canterella first, and we have no idea who she's good with, and then they don't rerun Canterella when the person she's good with comes out. It feels kind of weird, right? I feel like this is where Kuro just wants to release a character, part of a character from a really good team in the future, and then in the future they rerun both, right? So it might be some time in between until we get that, but for now, that's not really a big reason for you to prioritize Canterella and go broke for it. Not to mention with so many like high hype characters coming in, yeah? Older players, you pull from what you want in the future, or hey, pull for convenience, basically. If you're not running a Shorekeeper team, well, pull yourself Shorekeeper, it's convenient. Or if you want to just base off your future and you know you want to use Canterella no matter what, go ahead, pull Canterella. It's not gonna be a waste. Culture players, yep, like me, I gotta pull Canterella. Look at her. You guys seen the trailer? That trailer might be the most aesthetic trailer ever in a lot of ways, I would say. But I hope I managed to help you guys out in deciding who to go for and just breaking out what roles all these characters are in the game currently. And yeah, as I mentioned, the channel is like, I'm not really putting that much thought and not being consistent in the channel yet, but I'm trying new shit. You can see in the background there's a whoa. I'm not a freak. I'm trying to do like more cinematic shots for my videos, but you know if you follow my main channel. But hey, I hope I get time, practice my abilities enough to bring that over to this channel. You guys might get some good content by that time, so I hope you guys, you know, just wait until the time comes, I suppose. But yep, that will be all for now. I cannot wait for Canterella. Should be coming like tomorrow for Asia. I'm not sure if it's like the same for everybody, but you know what? More content to come, huh? More content to come. But yeah, that'll be all for today, guys. Take care.